Late one stormy night, as you're driving along a desolate country road, the rain pounds against your windshield, reducing visibility to almost nothing. You squint through the darkness, focusing on the winding road ahead. Suddenly you see a figure on the side of the road, drenched and shivering. It's a young woman, thumb out, desperately hoping for a ride. You hesitate but decide to help. She climbs in, her clothes soaked through, hair matted to her face. She thanks you softly and says she needs to get to the next town. As you drive, she remains eerily silent, staring out the window into the rain. You try to make conversation, but she only gives short, one-word answers. Her presence fills the car with an icy chill, and you can't shake the feeling of unease growing in the pit of your stomach. The road winds through dense forests and abandoned farmlands, each mile feeling longer than the last. The girl's silence becomes almost unbearable, the rhythmic sound of the windshield wipers the only noise breaking the tension. As you approach a particularly sharp bend, she suddenly speaks in a monotone voice. "Slow down. It's dangerous here." Startled, you ease off the accelerator. As you round the bend, you see a large tree fallen across the road, barely illuminated by your headlights. You manage to stop just in time, your heart racing. You turn to thank her, but she's gone. The seatbelt is still fastened and there's a puddle of water where she sat. Panic grips you as you realize you're alone again. Shaking, you get out of the car to inspect the fallen tree. As you stand there, drenched and shivering, an elderly man approaches from the direction of a nearby house. He sees your distress and asks if you're okay. You explain what just happened, describing the girl. His face goes ashen, and he tells you that you've just encountered the ghost of a girl who died in a car accident on that very road years ago, still trying to get home. He points to a small, neglected graveyard just off the road. You see a weathered tombstone, the name barely legible in the dim light. It belongs to the girl. Her tragic story unfolds as the old man recounts how she lost her life in a terrible crash, her body never properly laid to rest. She now haunts the road, seeking closure that she can never find. Despite the man's reassurances that she means no harm, the memory of her hollow eyes haunts you. For weeks, you can't shake the feeling of her presence. Every time you drive down a dark road, you find yourself checking the rearview mirror, half expecting to see her sitting there, silently staring back at you. Months pass, and you begin to move on, though the experience never truly leaves your mind. One night, you find yourself driving down the same desolate road, the same storm raging outside. The déjà vu is overwhelming. As you approach the spot where you first saw her, your car suddenly dies, leaving you stranded in the pouring rain. Desperation sets in as you fumble with your phone, finding no signal. You sit there, feeling the cold seep into your bones, when a familiar figure appears in your rearview mirror. The girl, drenched and shivering, stands on the roadside once more, her eyes pleading for help. This time you feel compelled to follow her. She leads you down a hidden path you hadn't noticed before, towards an old abandoned house deep in the woods. The door creaks open, revealing a dusty, forgotten room. In the corner, a small tattered diary lies on the floor. You pick it up, feeling a chill run down your spine. The diary tells the story of her life, her hopes, and her dreams cut short by that fateful accident. As you read, you realize she's been trying to communicate with someone who could understand her pain and help her find peace. You promise to give her the burial she deserves, to honor her memory. With the diary in hand, you return to the graveyard. The old man from before joins you, and together you arrange for a proper ceremony. As you lay the diary on her grave, the air grows still, and you feel a sense of calm wash over you. Her spirit finally finds the peace it sought for so long. But the road never forgets. Drivers still report seeing her from time to time, a fleeting figure in the rain. Some say she now guides lost souls to safety, her own suffering having given her a purpose beyond death. And every time you drive that road, you leave a single flower by her grave, a silent thank you for the lesson she taught you about compassion and the enduring power of hope. Years later, you visit the town again, curious to see if the tales have changed. You find the graveyard, now well tended and adorned with flowers left by other drivers who've heard her story. The old man is still there, though he's more frail now. He smiles when he sees you, nodding in recognition. "Her story lives on," he says, his voice trembling. "She's found her peace, but she'll always be remembered." You share a quiet moment by her grave, feeling a profound sense of connection to a soul lost and found on that lonely stretch of road. The girl's story spreads through the town, becoming a legend that binds the community. People come together to honor her memory, and the road that once held such tragedy now serves as a reminder of the kindness and connection that can transcend even death. You drive away, knowing that while her journey ended, her legacy of hope and compassion will endure, a beacon for all who travel that road in the dark. It's a crisp autumn evening, and you're on your way home after a long day. The road is quiet, with only the sound of leaves crunching under your tires. As you drive, you feel a strange sensation, as if someone is watching you. You glance in the rearview mirror, but the back seat is empty. You shake off the feeling and continue driving, but the sensation grows stronger. You adjust the mirror, and out of the corner of your eye, you see a shadowy figure sitting in the back seat. Your heart races, but when you look directly, there's nothing there. Trying to stay calm, you turn up the radio, hoping to drown out your fear. The music plays, but you hear a faint whisper coming from the back seat. It's indistinct at first, but gradually it becomes clearer. "Help me." You pull over to the side of the road, breathing heavily. You gather your courage and turn around to confront the presence, but the back seat is empty. Determined to shake off this eerie feeling, you resume your drive. A few miles later, you see a sign for a rest stop and decide to take a break. As you pull into the parking lot, your phone rings. You answer it, and a static-filled voice says, "Don't stop, keep driving." The call disconnects abruptly. Panicked, you quickly leave the rest stop and continue driving without looking back. As you drive, you remember stories of the unseen passenger, an entity that latches onto drivers seeking help to move on. The thought chills you, but you decide to follow the voice's advice, not stopping until you reach home. The whispers continue throughout the journey, growing more desperate, pleading for help. Finally, you arrive home, exhausted and shaken. You jump out of the car and rush inside, slamming the door behind you. Later, as you recount the story to a friend, they listen with a mix of fascination and horror. They suggest performing a cleansing ritual to rid yourself of any lingering spirits. You follow their advice, hoping to find peace. You burn sage, recite prayers, and visualize a protective barrier around your home and car. For a while, it seems to work. The strange sensations fade and you start to feel more at ease. But despite your efforts, the whispers never fully leave you. Occasionally, you still hear faint murmurs when you drive alone at night, a chilling reminder that the unseen passenger is still out there, waiting for someone who can truly help them move on. One particularly dark night, months later, you're driving through a remote area when the whispers return. Louder and more insistent than ever, they seem to be pleading with you, begging for release. You try to ignore them, focusing on the road ahead, but the whispers grow unbearable. Suddenly, you feel a cold hand on your shoulder, and the car swerves violently. You struggle to regain control, heart pounding in your chest. The whispers are now deafening, filling your mind with despair and fear. In a desperate attempt to end it, you scream, "What do you want from me?" The car comes to a sudden halt and the world around you falls silent. In the rearview mirror, you see the faint outline of a figure, eyes hollow and filled with sorrow. "Help me," it whispers one last time, before fading into the darkness. Determined to end this once and for all, you research the history of the road and discover a tragic story. Decades ago, a family perished in a car accident on that very stretch. Their spirits left wandering, unable to move on. The unseen passenger is one of them, forever seeking someone to understand their pain and help them find peace. With renewed resolve, you visit the site of the accident, offering prayers and lighting candles in memory of the lost souls. As you do, a sense of calm envelops you, and you feel the presence lift, a final whisper of gratitude echoing in the night. The drive home is peaceful, the oppressive weight finally lifted. You've helped the unseen passenger find rest, and in doing so, you found your own sense of closure. Yet you can't help but wonder if there are others out there, waiting for someone to hear their cries and offer the solace they so desperately need. Months later, as the leaves turn and the nights grow longer, you find yourself drawn back to that stretch of road. There's a compulsion you can't explain, a need to ensure that the peace you brought remains. One evening you set out driving slowly, feeling the weight of history in the air. As you near the site of the accident, a thick fog descends, and the familiar chill returns. The whispers are faint but present, a ghostly echo of past pleas. You pull over and step out. the fog wrapping around you like a shroud. In the distance, you see a figure, a young woman, her eyes filled with sorrow. She doesn't speak, but you understand her need. You kneel by the roadside, saying a silent prayer, feeling a connection form between you and the lost souls of this place. The air grows warmer, and the whispers fade, replaced by a profound silence. Satisfied that you've done all you can, you drive away, the fog lifting as you leave the site behind. The nights are quieter now, the road no longer haunted by restless spirits. Yet you remain vigilant, knowing that peace is fragile, and the boundaries between the living and the dead are thin. You've become a guardian of sorts, watching over the road, ensuring that the spirits of the past find their way to rest. It's a burden you carry willingly, a testament to the power of compassion and the enduring need for closure. And as you drive through the dark, quiet nights, you listen for the whispers, knowing that, should they return, you'll be there to answer their call. You're driving through the mountains on a foggy night, the road twisting and turning with each mile. The static on the radio is the only company you have, filling the eerie silence. You keep scanning for a clear station, but all you get is more static. Suddenly, the static clears, and you hear an old, haunting melody. It's a song you've never heard before, with a voice that sends chills down your spine. The lyrics tell a story of a lost soul wandering the earth, searching for peace. As the song ends, a voice crackles through the speakers. This is WKR, broadcasting from the other side. Stay tuned for messages from beyond. You freeze, unable to comprehend what you just heard. You tried changing the station, but it's stuck on WKR. The next voice you hear is a low whisper, calling your name. Come find us, it says. You grip the steering wheel, knuckles white, as the voice continues, giving you directions. Against your better judgment, you follow them, curiosity overcoming fear. The directions lead you to an old, abandoned radio station at the edge of the mountain. The building is dark and decrepit, vines crawling up its sides. You get out of the car, the cold air biting at your skin, and walk toward the entrance. Inside, the equipment is dusty, and cobwebs hang from the ceiling. Yet the radio transmitter is still active, emitting a low hum. You approach the microphone, and as you do, you feel a presence behind you. You turn around, but see nothing. The whispering voice fills the room. Thank you for coming. Now, we can rest. The hum of the transmitter grows louder, and the room begins to shake. You run out, not looking back, and drive away as fast as you can. The radio goes silent, and you're left with the unsettling feeling that you've just helped something cross over. For weeks, you avoid that mountain road. But one night, curiosity gets the better of you. You tune into the radio station, hoping to hear WKR again. This time, the static clears, and you hear the same haunting melody. The voice returns, but now it's pleading. Come back. We're not finished. A chill runs down your spine as you realize that whatever you helped may not have been as innocent as you thought. Despite your fear, you feel an inexplicable pull to return to the radio station, as if your fate is now intertwined with the spirits of Dukar. Driven by an unshakable compulsion, you make the journey back to the abandoned station. The night is darker than before, the fog thicker. When you arrive, the building seems to pulse with an otherworldly energy. Inside, the transmitter hums louder than ever, and the whispers are deafening. You step up to the microphone, and a cold hand touches your shoulder. The voice is now a chorus, echoing around you. Welcome back, you're one of us now. The room spins, and you feel yourself being pulled into the darkness, the spirits claiming you as their own. From that night on, drivers passing through the mountains report hearing strange broadcasts on their radios, a new voice among the lost souls of WKR, forever calling out for the next unsuspecting traveler. Months pass, and you've become a part of the legend, a voice echoing through the night, drawing others to the old station. The spirits reveal their stories, their unfinished business trapping them between worlds. Each night you listen, sharing their tales with anyone who will hear. One night, as you broadcast the latest story, you sense a presence stronger than the others. A young man appears, his face twisted with sorrow. He tells you of his tragic end, a fatal car crash that took his life and the life of his beloved. They were on their way to start a new life together, dreams shattered in an instant. Moved by his story, You promise to help him find peace. He leads you to the site of the crash, deep in the forest, where you find the remains of their belongings scattered among the underbrush. You gather them, feeling the weight of their lost dreams. Back at the station, you lay out the items, performing a ritual of remembrance. The young man's spirit is joined by his beloved, their forms shimmering with gratitude. They thank you, their voices mingling with the static before fading into the ether. The station grows quieter, the restless spirits finding their way to rest one by one. Yet, you remain, bound to the place by an invisible tether. You've become the keeper of their stories, the guardian of their final messages. Each night you broadcast their tales, ensuring they are remembered. Years pass, and the old station falls into further disrepair. But the broadcasts continue, a ghostly signal that reaches out to those who travel the dark, winding roads. Some drivers hear the voices and follow the call, drawn to the station's eerie allure. You watch over them, guiding them through the darkness, helping them find closure. The station is your home now, a place where the living and the dead meet, where stories are told and memories preserved. One stormy night, a young woman arrives, drawn by the haunting melodies and whispered tales. She steps into the station, eyes wide with curiosity and fear. You sense a familiar presence, a connection that transcends time. She approaches the microphone, her voice trembling as she asks, "Who are you? Why did you call me here?" You smile, though she cannot see you. "I am the keeper of this place, the guardian of these stories. You've been chosen to hear them, to help those who cannot find peace." She listens, her fear giving way to compassion. Together you unravel the tales of the lost souls, bringing closure to their unfinished business. The station hums with a new energy, a beacon of hope for those who wander the dark roads. And so, the legend of WCAR endures, a testament to the power of stories and the enduring need for connection. The old station remains, a place where the past and present converge, where the living and the dead find solace in each other's company. You remain, watching over the station, ensuring that the voices of the past are never forgotten. And as the years pass, you become a part of the legend, your story intertwined with those you've helped, a guardian of the lost and the forgotten, forever broadcasting from the other side.